Most people think they're being self-aware. They're not. And realizing this might explain why you've felt stuck for so long. By the end of this video, you'll be able to tell the difference between real self-awareness and a pattern that feels productive but quietly keeps people exactly where they are. It usually starts with good intentions. Someone wants to understand themselves better, so they reflect. They analyze their thoughts. They replay conversations. They ask why they feel the way they do. On the surface, that looks like growth. But there's a version of self-awareness that doesn't move you forward at all. It just makes staying still feel reasonable. Once you notice this pattern, you start seeing it everywhere, especially in yourself. Self-awareness is supposed to create clarity, but avoidance dressed as awareness creates comfort. It lets you feel like you're working on yourself without actually doing anything uncomfortable. That's why it's so hard to spot. Avoidance doesn't always look like procrastination. Sometimes it looks like intelligence. It sounds thoughtful. It sounds mature. It sounds like planning. But here's the part most people miss. Clarity doesn't always come before action. Most of the time, it comes after. Thinking feels safe. Action doesn't. Thinking doesn't expose you. Action does. Action creates feedback. Feedback can hurt. So the mind finds a workaround. It keeps you analyzing instead of acting. Not because you're lazy, but because avoiding risk feels logical. You tell yourself you're not ready yet, that you need more understanding, that you don't want to rush, and none of that sounds like an excuse. That's why it works. But here's where the trap closes. The more time you spend thinking, the heavier action starts to feel. Now, action doesn't just mean trying. It means proving whether all that thinking was worth it. So you think more. You refine the explanation. You label the feeling. You make sense of the pattern. And each time you do, you feel a small sense of relief. Not progress. Relief. Because as long as you're analyzing, nothing is demanded of you. Here's the difference that actually matters. Real self-awareness leads to movement, even when it's uncomfortable. Avoidance leads to explanations, especially convincing ones. One changes behavior, the other justifies staying the same. That's why people can spend years working on themselves without their life actually changing. They don't lack insight. They lack movement. And this is the part most people don't want to hear. If the next step feels obvious but uncomfortable, that's usually the step. Avoidance survives by making simple things feel complex. Awareness simplifies. In the next video, we'll talk about the fear that pretends to be logic. The kind that convinces smart people to delay their own progress. Once you see it, it's hard to unsee. If this made you reflect even a little, subscribe. This channel breaks down the mental patterns that quietly keep people stuck, one small mistake at a time.